Hello and welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with friends and get your game goodness each and every Monday. My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me by his lonesome Ciaran Marchant.
Hello, it's me by myself, stretched out on the couch, just like I was in the hotel room.
Yeah, very good.
Yep.
Very good. I actually can't remember last time. It's just you and I did episode 2.
It's been a while. Normally it's you that abandons Ash and me, or I abandon you and Ash.
Yeah, I was like, I do a lot with just Ash, but yeah. So there we go. Not a lot happening this week, to be honest. I'll be shocked if there's a lot of game news in the next couple of weeks, just because it's that time of year where everyone shuts the fuck up coming into the Game Awards, basically. Like, I mean, you got like 4 or 5 weeks. Who knows? Maybe something could happen, but I'd be doubtful. Maybe a Nintendo Direct would be the only thing I expect before between now and the Game Awards, but that would be it. I don't expect a lot to be happening.
Yeah.
All right, couple news items to start the show with. I thought we'd start, since it's a solo, well, not solo, it's the you and I episode. We'll start with this one. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered enhancements include map, compass, and more. Eurogamer writes, it's been a couple months since Crystal Dynamics revealed its beloved dark fantasy action adventures. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 were poised to get remaster treatment, and now with the 2 game bundles December release looming, remaster developer Aspire has detailed some new things. This comes by the place of blog that's mostly blah 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 blah. Remodeling, so it also good lord, words. Confirmation of remodeling, retexturing, and at least one case resliming to enhance the original boss roster's looks, and on top of that, a completely redesigned model for antagonist Kain. We also get updated FMVs, so cutscenes, basically. The game is also now going to get a compass that gently nudges the player in the right direction without giving away specific details of where to go, while a map is described as more of a reference tool than a guide. Additionally, there's also a collection tracker showing whether players have found all the collectibles in each area. But for long-time fans looking to get a slightly more traditional Legacy of Kain experience, you can switch off all those things. I know how good your memory is, but if they're adding a map and a compass, do you remember if
I think it's so Legacy of Kain, I can remember I remember the story really well. It can be very confusing. There is especially back in the original where there was nothing to guide you. You just kind of had to make sure you were going towards what you thought was the right place. And it wasn't always, extremely obvious where to go next or what to do. So
levels?
Well, it's levels, it's like it's like an open world that's connected into it's like an old school
biomes.
Yes, correct. It's like an old school this boss controls this area, this boss controls this area. You have the middle areas, and you're moving through it all. And then there's also every world has the underworld version, the abyss version of it that you shift between and use for different puzzling. So yeah, and it is a lot of there is a lot of Metroidvania style things to it, where it's
backtracking.
Backtracking, where each of the bosses have their own or each of the areas have their own kind of ability connected to them, and then once you have that ability, it'll open up other areas in previous locations and help you move forward and move deeper into different spots, and be able to collect things and get things that you couldn't, because everything is it's all of the collectibles that are that increase your health or increase the Soul Reaver itself. Even some of the abilities are completely optional. You don't have to go and pick them up. You don't have to. They're not needed to complete the game. So I think this stuff will just help make it the mod. And it's nice to know they aren't just pulling the game into the into the modern day and not doing anything to it. We're just slapping textures on it. It's nice as doing that. Worries me that it doesn't sound like they've fixed the camera, and the camera is probably one of the big sticking points for Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1, because it's a lot of fixed cameras and a lot of
I feel like they previously said something about the
I hope so. I think they have, but I guess I thought it would have been mentioned there. But yeah, it's overall it's exciting. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to talk more about it. I'm excited for you and Ashley to potentially experience it. It's One of the games I definitely put down as this is why I love gaming, and like kind of what brewed my love of video games.
Here we go. I found it. With camera upgrades, we've mapped the camera in Solar Reaver to the right stick, which allows us to move
There
the
we
camera
go.
on the y-axis. Blah 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 blah.
There we go. Sweet.
So they mentioned how the original game launched with the D-pad, and these lock cameras and stuff. So
yes, yeah, cool. All right, sweet. They have fixed it. Excellent.
There you go. All right. I thought it was dead, but apparently it's not. Your game also writes another story, Beyond Good and Evil 2, still in development. Now with a new creative director. Despite a record-breaking marathon on-again, off-again development cycle stretching back almost 20 years, Ubisoft appears to be demonstrating its commitment to finally getting Beyond Good and Evil 2 done by appointing company veteran Fwazi Mesmar as the game's new creative lead. Mesmar has worked with Ubisoft for 2 decades, which is nearly as long as Beyond Good and Evil 2 has been in development, and previously served as the company's overall boss of creative development. He's a senior and experienced pair of hands for a project that has gone through numerous iterations of various senior staffing changes over years, including the departure of franchise creator Michelle Ansel in 2020 after accusations of toxic behavior, and the sad death in 2023 of Emile Morel, the game's previous creative director. So this will be the third creative director that the game has had in its time. Pulse check, because this is all I'm calling this. Is this game coming out?
No, this game never comes out.
Even though they just appointed a new creative director?
They're going to keep trying, but Ubisoft will end up cutting this for like money-related issues.
I feel like they would have by now. Like they're weirdly committed to this. Like in a
I
way
think they made such a big thing out of it. Remember when it was first re-announced at the Game Awards, or like
it was E3, I think, actually.
Yeah, it was either E3 or the Game Awards or something like that, and like you could sign up to be on the fan system and stuff. Yeah, and like you'd be the first to know all the content, and then nothing really happened on that. Yeah, I don't think that game comes out. I think that game was too ambitious and was trying to be AAA and trying to push the limits of being a AAA for Ubisoft, and it just hasn't worked.
I wonder if you was to like think about like games that have gone for so long. I can't think of a game that's been in development this long without coming out, like active development, like not just like a rumored development or something. Like I feel like the most known one would be like Duke Nukem Forever, of a game that took forever.
And that came out. That was terrible when it came out.
But it did release.
It did release, but then that was somebody saying, fuck it, release it.
Yeah.
And it was not good.
I feel like at a certain point, fuck it, release it might be the...
But the thing is, right, with this game, I don't think we've never seen the game or the gameplay. We've only seen cinematics. We've only seen discussions about it. It's not even like, at the minute, for us, the audience members, that game has probably been like ripped apart and put back together so many fucking times since we saw that initial trailer that is there even a game there at the moment? Is there even an actual product? What is, like, even if they're putting in a new creative director, that's going to take, it's for them to be in position and to know what's going on and for them to work everything out. Like, yeah, we don't see this game. Like, if this game comes out before 2030, I'd be fucking impressed.
The only other one I was looking up to see when it was announced that comes to mind is obviously Star Citizen.
Star Citizen's different though, because Star Citizen has, I'm sorry, I actually mean to offend you if you are one of these people, morons that keep throwing money at them and buying things that are just never releasing. Like, Star Citizen I don't want to rant too hard on Star Citizen, but Star Citizen has such an unethical business practice, an unethical kind of system of how it's being funded, and that game's just never coming out. It just keeps drip people feeding shit.
26 Kickstarters.
Well, yes, but like even like so I was told about this Star Citizen in like 2013. I had a friend trying to be like, hey, we should buy ships together. We should spend a couple $100 and buy some ships, and we'll have some ships. And because like don't get me wrong, the fucking premise for Star Citizen fucking dope. It was so fucking cool. I even liked the idea of like jumping into and this is part of the reason why I didn't even buy into the ship, because I was like, there's this thing of like, when the game comes out, you're not gonna be able to instantly buy a ship, so you're gonna have to work for other players and work on other ships and work on it. And I was like, you know what? Sounds pretty fucking cool. Sounds good to me. I don't think it'll ever work, but sounds good to me. I would like to play that game. Game's never coming out.
The funniest thing to me that I was just looking because I'm like, I'm pretty sure they announced another. So you've got Star Citizen.
They announced like Squadron 42 or whatever. I just saw that with Henry Cavill.
With no release dates or anything.
But like Star Citizen is, don't even,
Yep.
Yeah, if you've got a Star Citizen ship and you're waiting for that thing to drop, you just accept now in life you've made a bad decision.
I reckon Beyond Good and Evil comes out before that game.
Oh, 100%, but that's because Beyond Good and Evil has to be less ambitious. But this is the thing, right? In the world of current Ubisoft, that like this is Ubisoft that has shit the bed with Star Wars Outlaw, has cancelled any and all DLC with Assassin's Creed Shadow because of everything that's come out about that game and all the discourse around it. Ubisoft to me is in tatters at the moment, like realistically speaking.
Well, they're making money because they put a bunch of all their games back on Steam and they're all in like the highest selling charts. So
because but that's the thing, that to me is, yes, even though it's selling, it's like, they've kind of had to put their hands up and say, okay, Ubisoft Connect didn't work.
Yeah. Well,
all the development.
The other thing is they're like, I don't know. It's like when they're complaining Star Wars didn't sell enough, it's like, I don't know, maybe that was you blocked people. Like, sort of made it harder to buy the game. So.
Yep.
That might be half the problem. Okie dokie. Metaphor update time. Why are you laughing? Have you not played anymore?
I've played a bit more. I've had a fucking hectic week at work.
That's fine. Because I've finished the first dungeon.
Let's go! Playing the game!
Well, what I assume is the first dungeon.
Wait, which first dungeon? Is it the mines? Have you just done the mines?
No. Like,
or have you done like the first proper dungeon, like the cathedral?
Yeah.
You've done the Grand Cathedral, because there's a couple of mini dungeons.
Yeah. I've done the Grand Cathedral. I had a due date and everything.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah, nice.
I did all that.
Yeah, tell me your thoughts.
Well, the other thing is I never actually played the
You didn't play the demo, so this is your first like.
So I had the full blank experience.
Yep.
Unsurprisingly, really like it. Obviously, as we keep saying, it's just Persona, but fantasy setting, and that's not a bad thing. I do find it some of the stuff I've been finding like funny how like they're fitting it within this setting. Like the first time you're like dragged out to what is like the blue velvet room in this game's universe. Yep. I'm like, for a second there, I didn't think this was going to be a thing in this game, but then of course it is. Because I was like, are they going to have like all the Persona tropes? And it's like,
yes,
yes,
they will.
We are going to have all the tropes. Yeah. So far, it was making me there's a few things because it's from the guy who did like 4 and 5. And I was like picking up on things that are like from different sorts of those games, like the fact that you there's a little girl which you build a bond with in this one, which you didn't have in 5, but you do in 4, and I was like, okay, interesting. I don't think I got what you meant now, like so the fact you can just hit enemies on and just kill them, that wasn't a thing.
No,
the way it plays out in this one wasn't a thing. It was different in the last one. That's cool. It's also funny every time you like walk into a room and apparently you're now strong enough to kill them all, and then you just see all this like glass shatter around them or whatever. Like, okay, well I can beat these people up now. The combat I think is just the same.
Combat changes a fair amount. Once you're involved in like the turn system, and once you have the turn system worked out, that the game gets kind of hectic.
I would say like basic combat was, I didn't, I was like, whatever. I wasn't thinking too much about it. I would say that the boss fight against the sword dude, and then the who very weird to have an Irish accent for that character is what I'm going to say.
Well, no, he was. Do you mean the main villain
Or
for the first
or
dungeon?
Scottish, or was he?
He's Scottish, yeah.
Oh, Scottish.
Well, this
Very
is the thing,
weird.
right? Everything. So this is the thing that makes me, and I forgot to mention this last time. All of the English, whoever at Atlus or the studio, right, has turned around and said, "All right, we're high fantasy. We're
Yes,
British.
everyone has to be European.
We're British or European as fuck in this game."
Yeah.
And it's like the fact where like one of the main characters later in the game, she has an accent like she's from Liverpool. And like there's lots of varied like English accents that don't often get caught in video games, and I'm like, holy fuck, righto, this is
which I'm fine with. I'm just like the character designs. Quite often, I'm like, I don't know, it just feels odd for the accents.
Yeah.
Like my dude has like, I don't know, he looks, like.
Well, this is the thing. It's the same thing as
dude.
like I think it's the equivalent to like the Ghibli.
When you watch the English dub.
When you watch the English dub of a Ghibli
Yeah.
movie, and it's fucking it's whoever big actor that's playing it. It's it can be weird.
But I think the boss fight against him and the boss fight after, they both required a level of thinking about it.
Yes.
Actually, the boss fight against him, I think honestly probably took me 8 or 9 tries. I think.
Really, I've one shot that boss.
Oh, no,
But that's because so the key was my main character. I was doing the level 10 in the healer class.
Okay.
And the healer shits on that entire dungeon.
I realized that I might have. Here's the thing. I didn't rush through the thing. I did everything in the dungeon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got all the shit.
I did everything.
I fully cleared it. I get up to the boss, get my ass handed to me the first go. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm really bad at this. And then I click the little thing that tells me what other players' levels were when they finished the dungeon. I'm level like 14, I think, and it says everyone else at the lowest was 18, and I saw some people like 20s and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I've done everything, so obviously there's a level of grinding here.
So no, it's go out of the dungeon and then go do some of the bounties and stuff.
I did the bounty. There's fucking fight a tiger or some shit like that. Was the only one that was available to me. I did that.
Because I don't think, but I was fairly high level by the time I got to that boss. I think I was level like 20-ish.
What the fuck
around that time? Because I cleared everything. I didn't grind. To be honest, at that point in the game, I hadn't ground that much because I just cleared everything and was just running around and like good portions of that first dungeon, I was one hitting everything because I was high enough level where I didn't need to do the proper fights.
So I'm like, I'm fucking level 14, which I discover is I'm playing the game on hard mode. And I had a choice. I'm like, okay, well, obviously, if everyone else is higher
it's a couple
than me,
of things. It's
grind.
not just your character level in this one. It's also your item levels as well.
Yeah.
Because your damage stat on your weapon is kind of really important for everything, not just your physical attacks. So like, there's so many times I've accidentally switched to an archetype or something, and then I haven't used for a while, and I've got really shit gear on it, and that person is hitting for like 20 damage at a time with everything they're doing, and I'm like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, every time I switched it, I've made sure I just go into the equipment and click the button that's like switch to the highest.
Yeah, but even when I'm like, I just haven't had anything new for that character in a while. Like this is when I was like, I leveled Hulkenberg in the mage class. When I went back to her knight, she had all shit gear, and I was like, oops, oh well. That was like a dungeon or so ago. But yeah, there was that. Like, there was a couple. I guess I don't know, because the thing is, how many days of in-game did you take before you went into the dungeon?
I had 4 days free when I beat it.
Right. Okay. Because I think because I'd done the things where I'd like, in the first day, if you increase the wisdom enough, you can get you can level your wisdom to to level 2 in like a day and a half, 2 days almost, where you just have to make sure you do a couple of different things to be able to talk to not only unlocks talking to the merchant lady, Brigitte,
the one sitting outside.
Yes, yeah, it unlocks talking to her, and then also it unlocks all of the extra features of the church at the same time to be able to like purify gear and stuff like that.
Purify gear, yeah. I haven't done that yet actually, but
be careful purifying gear. Limited resource. Don't do it to every item if you're not going to use it. Just good lesson to learn. But yeah, what do you think? Are you going to keep? Well, I'm guessing you're not going to get you're not going to keep playing it too much. But did you get it on your PlayStation or on your PC?
My
or
PlayStation.
On your PlayStation, okay.
Obviously, obviously I want to.
Jumping back in.
I had to I had to pull myself off it. This is the problem. This is the hard thing. I played more than I originally intended.
Because that's good shit. It's just great shit because it keeps. Actually, one thing that I'll say, narratively very confusing to me, was Hulkenberg, the redhead elf lady. She's in the opening cinematics. So I was like, yeah, she's there in the opening cinematics with you before you get thrown off that card or whatever.
Is she?
Yes, she's in there with you. And I thought, oh, you're friends and stuff, whatever. No, it's just a coincidence that you're both in that carriage at the start of the game. I'm like, the fuck, righto. Why? You didn't even need this.
Okay. I didn't pick up on that, but so that means she walks back to the big city.
Yes.
After getting bandit raided.
Yes. Yeah, well, she did. Apparently, she defeated all those bandits and stuff.
Oh, I missed that somehow. Fucking.
Lots more anime cutscenes in this one, isn't there, compared to Persona? At least in the opening, I think it's
definitely a lot of cutscenes in the first couple hours, which is fine. I feel like I can't remember. It's so hard to think back. Like once you play 100 hours of Persona, I'm like, it's so hard to think back to like how the game starts. But I mean, I feel like every Persona game has like it's cutscene heavy. Maybe not as like the full anime ones like this has, but at least like there's a lot to get the story
get the story going. At least with this one, I do feel like this does better than Persona, as this one gets into shit quicker than Persona normally takes. For me, especially, I guess I've only got 5 to go off, and the little bit of 4 I've played. Persona takes a while to kind of get into the full swing of things before it'll actually like give you the full game, where this kind of pretty quickly in the first 5-10 hours you are.
Well, the only thing I'm confused about, and obviously if I'd play more of the game, I'm sure I'd find this out within 30 minutes or so, but now that I'm like okay, well, what's going to be the second, I turned it off after I got through to like where there was like the church was doing their big announcement, and they've announced that like they're believing in what we're doing here or whatever.
Yes.
You want to word it. I got to that, and that's where I saved and turned it off. But now I'm like, okay, well, where's the second dungeon going to be? And then also, if it's in another city or something, I'm like, does that mean we travel there? But then, like, if I want to come back to this city for something, that would like take a day of time. It's like thinking about that, and again, I can tell by your face, you're like, well, you'll see. But it's just the fact that, like, obviously in Persona games, because all of the dungeons are like
in Tokyo and in
and they're in another world, so it's like you just travel. You know what I mean? You never you don't lose time. It's just and everything you do is in the city or the where the game takes place. So thinking about that is the part that currently I'm like, I don't understand.
And I can promise you, I was in the exact same position around about the same time you are. Those were the questions I was thinking at the same time.
Yeah,
where I'm like,
we have to leave the city, right? Like, the whole game can't take place here. There's nothing left to do, because what am I going to go back in the same fucking So that means every city, I guess, has to have a church, same shops. I don't know, just fucking confusing. But that's also sort of annoying. Is other thing is because you get used to in all the Persona games because you just walk around the same city.
You get used to be able to running. You still get
speed run.
You still get that feeling in the game. Just later on, yeah. It's not literally. I think if you played for another hour, all your answers here would be.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I guarantee if I'd played for a little bit longer, but I was like, fuck, all right, this seems like a good point to do something else maybe with my day, or else, or else if I keep playing, will I ever get off this game? This is the problem, because I may have been playing it in bed. The first time I started playing it, I was like, I'm feeling a bit tired. I'm going to get and start playing it. And I got into bed and start playing it, and then I was like fucking like half falling asleep like playing it, and then I like woke up next morning and I just kept playing. So, no, it's good shit. Still a dumb name. I still don't really. I'm like,
I think it'll just be when we get to the point where it's just Metaphor is the series title, and it'll just be some dumb subtitle each time.
Metaphor Refiguratio.
Yeah.
Metaphor Pineapple on Pizza. I think there's There's a lot of things you could do.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Kill. All right, 2 news stories to wrap up this week. So, firstly, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown team disbands following low sales. In a new video from journalist translated on Reset Era, Galtos reports in his video that team at Ubisoft Multiply has been completely disbanded following the final work on the DLC being finalized on Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Ubisoft's reason is that the game didn't meet sales expectations with an 86 Metacritic score. It's one of their best reviewed games of the year, but that didn't seem to equal sales. Yeah, what do you think of this news that came out this week?
It continue. This is also another reason why I think Beyond Good and Evil 2 is doomed. Like it's and this is the thing, right? It's all their own fault. They had an amazing game. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown is an amazing game. That like I'm super excited when I get my Steam Deck in a month or so to play on my Steam Deck and chill the fuck out. But that was the thing, is that they segregated their audience and they didn't put it on PC straight away. They did the game a disservice. They kind of just threw it out there as hey, here's a little Prince of Persia game we've got. Here it is. It's probably, we're going to market it so many people think it's a Switch game. And go from there. And then we're going to stand back, 8 months later and be like, damn, how the hell did this fail? How did this not go really well? Like, how did this go wrong? And it's like, well, it's worrying and stressful for a game that is reviewed and seen by everybody who plays it. It's such an amazing experience. It's such a great game that it makes game development for AAA or for big developers even scarier, right? Because you can make a great game, but if either a decision made by marketing or made by somebody else in the company leads to that game not selling well, or if the audience pickup isn't like immediately great, or if the sales numbers aren't great, your whole development team could just be disbanded. See you later. Catch you later. Bye. Making a great game is no longer enough for these developers, and that's fucking scary.
It's crazy to think about, like, in a world where like Prince of Persia's had a rough probably like 10 years.
The best Prince of Persia game that's come out in since, in my opinion, since the one that came out on the 360. Like, it's the Troy Baker led one. Yeah,
with the art style, the very vibrant art style. Which I think was like 2013 or 2014 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It was a long time
like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They put out a game. It's, I really liked it, obviously. I think I gave it 8.5 or whatever. So that means I'm like right on the Metacritic average. Sad. There's plenty of room for a sequel too.
They even released DLC for it. I actually do think I'm interested to see how Ubisoft's strategy around DLC changes now that they've, they released DLC for that game, and now they've canned the team, and then also they canned the DLC for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like, we're probably not going to see the extent of DLC for Star Wars Outlaws that they probably had planned or thought they were going to do.
I think they said they're doing what they've said they're doing, but nothing.
Yeah. Like, I think, overall, like, it's just all fucked. Like, I don't. Yeah, I'm interested to see how Ubisoft recovers in general in the next 12 to 24 months.
Well, I think the delaying of Assassin's Creed is they need Assassin's Creed to do good, really good.
But I think they've set. I think they've set. To be honest, right? I think they've set up Assassin's Creed to fail.
I don't know. I feel like that they're going. I feel like when they're like prior to the release of that, I expect a very heavy marketing push, and I expect that the fact that people were supposed to go to a preview event, which they then delayed, like I think that they're hoping whatever they play leads to very good press talk, help bolster pre-order numbers, push it in heavy marketing, make some of that marketing the fact that they've it's coming to Steam now. They've got rid of the season pass. Like all these things as positives. Yeah, but I feel like they really, obviously, I think they're heavily relying on that game critically and financially.
100%.
All right, and final story for the week. This was a weird one. I doubt you've paid much attention to this one, to be honest, but I'll tell you all about it. So Nintendo announced a about a month ago, they put out a thing and they're like, sign up for this online playtest program. It's called the Switch Online Playtest Program. And it's not available in Australia, was one of the announcements at the time. So everyone, the going theory was it was just going to be some like cloud streaming service or something because it wasn't in Australia. That's not what it is. So you had to be an expansion park subscriber to get into it, and it's supposed to be ultra secretive. Like you had to sign an NDA to get into it and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, as soon as people got access early in the week, screenshots just started getting shared everywhere. Of course, Nintendo is like fucking taking these down with sniper precision the second they drop on Twitter or anything like that, but there's only so hard they can go. But yeah, people like signed up. They're like, yeah, totally NDA, cool. Yep, post pics. So I've had a look at them. I didn't share any in the article I put up on Explosion Network for fucking Nintendo will shoot me. But the game. Here's the key points that were sort of shared. The game and/or experience is described. The idea behind it is being described as to work with others to fully develop a massive, expansive planet by utilizing creativity and farmed resources, which sounds very Minecrafty, but on a larger scale. It says as you progress across the planet, you'll discover new lands, enemies, and resources that will become essential to your journey. Players get a beacon, which they'll be able to place to heal the land. And then anything that's within your beacon that you're like doing stuff with, like creating or moving or whatever you're doing in the game, can't be touched or interrupted with other players. However, anything that's outside of your beacon, which I guess is acting as like a protective area, other players can fuck with, basically. However that goes. They're also you're going to be able to level up your character. There's going to be a lot of socializing, so it's like a very heavily online game, which is weird for Nintendo. There's going to be user generated content, but you can't do that. Everyone's not going to be able to do that. You have to get a TGC license by taking a test. So you have to, I presume, pass as someone who won't create dicks before Nintendo lets you do that and put it in the game. Yeah, very odd. I'm sure it's sort of hard. Yeah, I don't know if the picture's still floating around. It's hard to, if you look at them, there's like little characters and stuff like that. Not a lot. What do you think? Nintendo's playtesting a very heavily online game that sounds like Minecraft, but like
we've heard. The thing is, right? I think at one point or another, every major company has tried to make a game like this. We're talking like your, fucking equivalent almost like the PlayStation Home at one point, fucking whatever that shit was going to be. Like it's yeah, I think everybody attempts to do this. I don't see there's any way that this works. This is like some metaverse bullshit. This is like, yeah. I feel like Nintendo's trying too hard, and I think once again, Nintendo's like, hey, we can do this because we're fucking Nintendo and we can do whatever we want. Well, the biggest problem is going to be the platform it's done on. This is not the what you would want the Switch. Like, who is buying a Switch or using a Switch to play this game? And
people
buy this
only
game.
own Switches.
Yeah, right. But like, it's why is a company like Nintendo wanting? Like, what is their? Like, I just don't understand. Like, if Nintendo was, once again, as my point has always been, Nintendo was a software developer and this was coming to everything, I could see this working. This coming on Nintendo, which doesn't, no, it's not just the fact of fucking, A, it's Nintendo, B, it's fucking Nintendo's networking system. Nintendo has the most jank, backwards, behind networking of any of the major publishers and any of the major console providers. Yep. Like, they don't have the infrastructure to support this.
That's why it's not coming to Australia.
That's why it'll be another one of those things. It's very, very rare and very, very selective. And
it might be running through the cloud to even
No.
power the game.
No,
That's why it's not in
no
Australia.
chance. No. Sorry, Nintendo can't even fucking use a fucking SSD in their console yet. They're not going to be fucking with the cloud.
They do fuck with the cloud. That's how they put out like all those Bethesda games and shit like that.
Yeah, but they don't. That's Microsoft and other companies fucking with the cloud on Nintendo's behalf. That's not Nintendo themselves fucking with the cloud.
It still works, apparently.
Yeah, because it works because it's on somebody else's infrastructure. Somebody else is hosting it.
Yeah. Just copy paste it, you know. Code's easy.
Uh-huh.
Funny. I do wonder though, like between this leak, the Pokemon leak, all the Nintendo, all the you know, the people clamoring for some Nintendo Switch news before the year's up. That's why I'm like maybe a Nintendo Direct or something before the end of the year. There's just a lot of Nintendo leaks and stuff like that happening at the moment. So
people are desperate for the Nintendo Switch 2 to have anything. We're not going to hear anything about the Switch 2 before the end of the year. Which is even more worrying because that means that console's 12 months away. Unless we hear about something in like the next month.
To be fair, this is the other thing. The Nintendo Switch, the original, was announced and released in under 3 months after release.
But I think they're in a different point of time though this time.
Well, apparently they did want to release it early 2025 like they did early for the original Switch, but because they couldn't get enough like parts, chips or whatever fast enough, they delayed.
I just think that they would have, if they were planning on, like if they haven't said anything.
Jeff Keighley could get the exclusive.
I was going to say, right, if they haven't said anything by the Game Awards, that console doesn't come out until like fucking September or October next year.
Yeah. Well, the going is it's mid 2025 at the moment.
I'll be surprised.
Well, I don't think Jeff could get the exclusive on the reveal. Nintendo would want to do it their own show, so I highly doubt that. But that's where I'm sort of like, I reckon if I don't see a direct before the Game Awards, then I'm a bit like, because then they're not doing a direct until like what at the
February?
earliest, like late January, early February.
Yeah,
you know, because no one's like that early January.
Like first 2 weeks of Jan, you just write off.
Just dead, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it's just dead. You don't do anything with it.
Yeah, no one does anything. Everyone's still on holidays, whatever, you know. So
it's that, January 20th-ish onwards, like kind of period that you
like that's when stuff starts happening again. The world comes back alive of pop culture and Anyway, interesting. We shall see. There's still time. There's still time for something to happen. I tell you what though, if I don't get, I'll put it this way, I'd be shocked if I don't get. I'm committed to one or the other happens. But in this month, before in November, there is either a Nintendo Direct or a Pokemon Presents. I refuse to believe there will not be one or the other.
I doubt that either of them will happen.
What do you want to bet?
Sheen.
I reckon it's more likely to get a Pokemon Presents.
I think so, but I don't think there's going to be anything for Pokemon to have in a Presents.
Well, no, because they're supposed to be that other game. I can't remember what it's called.
Not the Arceus Legends game.
Yeah, the spin-off one.
Yeah, that's Arceus. Yeah,
that's supposed to still be on Switch.
Yes, but that's not. That's still no.
That could come out early next year. That could be like February.
No, they are not going to give that a 3-month lead time. No fucking way. Yeah. No fucking way.
Yeah.
No, not a chance in hell. They've got to have multiple. Like they've got to announce the game. They've got to have I think they've got to have 2 or 3 directs before it comes out. I don't think they just fucking drop that after like one direct and be like, "Hey, it's coming out in February." They've announced the teaser for it, but there's still so much more they've got to do before then.
What's it called? Pokemon Legends ZA.
Yeah, because it's set in the Pokemon Black and White city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me just have a quick look at the Well, then, so if they have one, all right. Well, then, yeah. I mean, it could be like March, late March, early April. That'd be more.
Mm.
Then they do a Nintendo Direct. Pokemon presents this month in November.
I think you are suckling on the teat of copium of Nintendo's
Similar to
bosom.
complaining consistently, I get nothing from PlayStation. I too am now at the stage where I need a little bit of Pokemon juice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not going to.
Plus, I feel like the other thing is, and just to keep adding to my conspiracy theory that I'm making up myself, that Pokemon trading card game phone app thing comes out this week, the 30th or 31st, depending on the country you live in. So they could do one like after that. That would make sense, because then part of the show would be them talking about, like, you know, they could give like those, like a couple weeks, like if they did one mid-November, they could be like, sorry, the game's out now. It's been downloaded by X amount of people. Cool. Also, ZA. Are we saying ZA or are we saying ZA?
ZA. No, we're saying ZA.
I don't know. Also, it's very confusing to call a game ZA in Pokemon because it makes you sound like it's two games, because you usually say like XY or something, but it's one game.
Yeah. I think it's still going to be Pokemon Arceus Legends or some shit.
We'll see. All right. Well, enough of my conspiracy theories and enough of this podcast. Let us know your thoughts on my conspiracy theory and anything else we've talked about. You can go to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter, takes you to an X page. explosionnetwork.com/Discord takes you to a Discord page. explosionnetwork.com/support takes you to a Ko-fi page. Thank you for all the links. Until next week, have fun. Check out Metaphor. I don't know. Get lost in that universe. Just remember to go to sleep and go to school and work and stuff, because that's definitely a game where, you know, I could never start it in the morning before work because I would definitely be late.
Just one more day. I've got to just finish off this day.
Pretty much. That's the problem. All right, goodbye.